Welcome everyone to today's interview, Nadira Sadikova, Financial IT. Today I'm thrilled to have two distinguished guests with us, Paul Sweeney, Solution Architect at Engine by Starling, and Richard Cullis, Client Solutions Director for Retail Banking GFT. And we are here to discuss about the developments in the Fintech space, in particularly focusing on the modernization of the banking technology and the launch of the new Neobank, SoftBank. So let's get some introductions from our boss guests.
Thank you. I'm Richard Cullis. I'm Client Solutions Director for GFT UK in the retail banking portfolio. GFT is a platform solutions and cloud engineering organisation. We have a focus on financial services, but also work in automotive and industry. GFT has 12,000 colleagues spread globally, operating out of 20 geographies, and we have a specialisation in new digital banks, core modernisation, data and artificial intelligence.
Very impressive, Richard. Thanks very much, Nadira. My name is Paul Sweeney. I'm a solution architect with Engine by Starling. I've been with Engine since its inception 2 years ago as part of Starling Bank. For those who aren't familiar maybe with the Starling Bank story, very quickly, Starling Bank is a leading digital bank in the UK. It was founded in 2014, launched in 2017. It's currently probably number one or two in the UK from a customer service perspective. We have over 4 million customers, 10% of the SME market. So a hugely successful digital bank. And as I say, 2 years ago, we've taken the technology platform that underpins Starling Bank and made that available really as a managed service across the globe. And we work with partners like GFT to deliver that to new finance institutions, existing banks or fintechs around the globe.
There are a number of drivers actually behind core modernisation. The one that a lot of people are talking about are legacy systems and access to talent to support those legacy systems. The other are cost drivers and efficiency savings. We've had a massive move over the last decade or so to cloud platforms. That journey isn't yet finished, and there's still an awful lot to do. But what we're now seeing is banks increasingly turning to their internal core systems to actually leverage organisations like Engine by Starling, who can actually bring that modern cloud-based native platform into the organisation and give them a managed solution that can actually cut their costs and also rapidly reduce their time to market, as we'll come and talk about. And Paul?
No, absolutely, Richard. I'd agree with all of that. I mean, I think the cost and risk are huge elements for any institution. And I suppose the third one, I think, which Starling Bank was able to demonstrate, the expectation from a customer perspective has changed dramatically over the last 5 to 10 years. And the customer really expects that ability to have a true, fully featured self-service digital app. They expect a service level now from their bank that equates to some of the other digital partners out there, be it your Amazon's, your Netflix, etc. So there's a different expectation with the customer, and in order to deliver that, as Richard touched on, that you can't do that with your legacy system. That they're not agile enough, they're not capable enough. So consequently, in order to merely just get up to table stakes over the next few years, one's going to have to reinvent. And as Richard said, things like Engine by Starling provide the perfect platform to build on to do that.
SoftBank is it's an interesting case study actually. Engine approached us in 2022, end of 22, with a fantastically exciting proposition, which was a first external customer that was looking to stand up a new bank, and they had a highly ambitious target that they needed to have the bank operational within 6 months for the regulator. and within 12 months for a customer base. And we joined forces and we approached the challenge alongside SaltBank team themselves, and all three organisations brought a can-do attitude to the table. And we started to drive out the scope of what was being referred to as an MVP. And the scope itself was absolutely, it was significant. And it became a maximum value product as opposed to a minimum viable. This was a full-featured digital bank that could offer equivalent feature function to organisations that their target customer base in Romania may be enjoying today. And actually, they weren't prepared to launch unless they could offer that equivalence. So we came together and rose to the challenge, and I'll let Paul talk about more from his side.
And again, agree completely with Richard. I remember talking to Richard when we were just starting off in the discovery phase in early 23. And I mean, I've been around, you may not be able to tell by looking at me, but I've actually been in this industry for a number of years. And when we heard the time frames and the 12 months, I mean, aggressive would be the word for it. I mean, as I say, having worked with more traditional legacy banks, I mean, it seemed like a very, very ambitious target, shall we say. And I remember talking to Richard, who may or may not be able to guess, has also been around a little while. And we were kind of saying, yes, we can do this, but we need, I mean, everyone on board. And that's really what happened. You know, I mean, GFT were the ideal SI partner to help us with this. We were very confident from an engine perspective, but again, as our first external client, who was obviously going to be lessons learned by us and by them. And then Gabby and the Salt team and their, I suppose, diligence and enthusiasm and support the whole way through just meant I think we were very lucky. There was that perfect storm of, you know, attitude and ability to get it done within the 12 months. And I mean, it's now live. It's over 200,000 active customers, I think, in the first month or the first 4 or 5 weeks, which is phenomenal. When you ask again what's different about it, I think it's very much that Romanian bank for the Romanian country. I mean, it is obviously, you know, built and owned and run through the bank in Romania, Bank of Transylvania and SaltBank, and consequently the offering for Romanian people appears to have really hit a market segment that's there, and it's huge popularity, huge take-up. It's fantastic story. I'm very proud of it.
And just to add to that, I think Paul highlighted something critically important for the project and the success of the project, and that was the leadership that came together from all three partner organisations. So that was obviously Sam Edrington, but not least sponsored by Anne Bowden as well in her time while she was still CEO at Starling Bank, and Gabby Nistor. Gabby Nistor was actually the driving force behind all of this ambitious project and the scope and vision of what they wanted to achieve in SaltBank. And bringing those three leaders or four leaders together, they did create a culture of one team. And it didn't matter whether it was Engine or GFT or SaltBank themselves, we came together as one team and created that, you know, cohesive unit that needed to run at 100 miles an hour to get over the finish line. The interesting thing when we looked at the capabilities, so Engine by Starling, operated and used by Starling as a fully featured platform. When we started looking at the Romanian market, there were certain features, functions that we weren't actually too concerned about that they would actually be able to lift and place across directly into the Romanian market. And there were certain areas when it comes to things like the domestic payments in the Romanian market, and also integrating with things like regulatory reporting and the local general ledger, etc. There were some challenges that we were aware of. What we were able to do, though, is as the project progressed, I talked about the ambitious and quite large scope earlier, but we actually increased the scope.
Absolutely.
We leveraged the existing partner relationships that Engine by Starling have with organisations like Currency Cloud, and the bank were able to extend what they were looking to offer to their customers on day one to actually include a multi-currency single card account operating across 16 plus currencies, and that was available from launch.
Absolutely, Richard. And I think you touched on it there, that there was capabilities within Engine that maybe Saltbank didn't realise they were going to use, or didn't maybe pick up on initially that these would be key capabilities, which we were able to deliver with them. So from that perspective, I think Engine and the core platform is there. Obviously from the GFC side, all that work that was required to integrate it and deliver that new mobile app was going to be key from their side, because Saltbank obviously want to retain ownership of the mobile app. That is the front door into Saltbank, while the core Engine side, as I say, was really that it's the full featured set of capabilities. It truly is everything one needs to run a bank. And I think even Gabby and the team were amazed when they said, actually, not only can we do A, B, C, and D, we can also leverage additional capabilities. And then, as I say, the guys were able to pull that into the overall. So I think it worked very well.
And actually, one of the biggest selling points and differentiators of the Engine by Starling platform is their management portal.
Yes.
It's often not talked about or highlighted quite enough, but this is essentially a full-featured, end-to-end back office management, front office, back office, CRM, fully integrated, and actually genuinely gives the business an end-to-end view of every single business process that's operated on the Engine platform, and also allows them to have a true 360-degree view of the customer.
That's it.
And having that available out of the box on day one really accelerated the program and meant that we were able to provide into Saltbank that full-featured bank, but with insight and deep knowledge as to the activities of the customer from day one.
From an Engine perspective, we're actively engaged, across the globe, but even we can talk about the European jurisdiction. And I mean, we've had a hugely successful relationship with GFT to date. I mean, delivering on the Saltbank piece. I mean, I absolutely would see us working together closely in a number of future deployments and implementations, etc. And when clients say to us, and they do ask us, well, is there anyone particular that we would recommend or that we have worked with, etc. There's no doubt that GFT would be right up there on the top of the list, because yes, I mean, it's been a huge success story, I think, on both sides. That's what I think. It's what Richard thinks.
So at GFT, we see our partnership with Engine as key. We very much enjoyed and were excited by the experience of working with Engine. It's been fantastically satisfying to see the success that Saltbank has experienced. So to launch a bank within 12 months, and actually not just launch a bank, let's talk about the numbers. So the bank had a target for year one, which I believe was 100 to 200,000 customers.
Yeah, 20,000 the first month. So
20,000 a few days of the first week, they'd exceeded over 100,000 customers. And within the first 2 weeks, they were approaching 200,000. But those numbers aren't actually the important bit. You have to look at the fact that we're now coming towards, or we've reached the end of month 2 of operation, and they've switched and they're now recording active users. And this is an important factor, because these are not customers that are onboarding to have a look and sort of navigate and orientate themselves around the app and the platform. These are active users that are transacting with the bank on a frequent basis, and they've now exceeded over 200,000 active users in the first 2 months. And they're on target to have huge success going forward. And I know we're very sort of proud to sit alongside them.
Hugely, and I mean, just to put some of that in context, I think if my numbers are correct, it took Starling Bank, I think, 10 months to hit 100,000 customers. So I mean, and Starling Bank, we see it and it is a phenomenal success. But as I say, Gabby and Saltbank and what they have there really seems to have just sort of touched the zeitgeist.
I'd agree. And if we look at the bank launched, and it launched successfully, and it scaled, and there wasn't a single P1 outage, which is testament to the engineering prowess and the stability and robustness of the Engine platform. And I think also we'll take credit on our engineering side to do all the integration with the third-party providers and actually not have that single system or platform outage.